Welcome to Mean Age Daydream with me, Brian McWilliams, where we're going to be making some jokes, laughing out at broken world, but also laying out some philosophy for the future, how we can fix this mess we're in and have a great time doing it all with a Mean Age Daydream. What's up, Buttercups? It's a new day in America, and we start a new day by bringing in some old friends. I am joined today, yes, me, beautiful Brian McWilliams, your bald, beautiful superhero of a host. I am here with, of course, John Odermatt, my compatriot in Liberty, who has gone full MAGA this election cycle.
It's the dawning of a golden age.
And also, former Lion of Liberty, current Florida man, Marc Clair, failed podcaster, and of course, intricate functionary and leader within the expat money summit and expat movement. Mark, welcome to Mean Age Daydream, my friend.
Brian, it's wonderful to be back here. I honestly, as you can imagine, I was flooded with requests to give my take on the election, but I felt a special obligation to you guys to be the first, maybe the last. I don't even know. I have a limited time.
Well, I would expect that, you, similar to Donald Trump, a man that achieves your level of notoriety also has had his ear shot at least once or twice.
Oh, in many different ways, in many different formats, for sure.
That's why you grew the hair out, right? You're missing a chunk out of, what is it, left ear?
It's all in, yeah. I actually have a version of this that's only one side that I can wear around to cover the injured ear.
Well, welcome, man. It's always good to talk to you. And especially you had a great tweet, which is why I was like, oh shit, I should bring Mark on, which was pointing out, right? Okay, just to sum everybody up, you're watching this, obviously, the election reaction show. Donald Trump has kicked the donkey to the curb. I figured that's the most appropriate headline because, of course, we've got the donkey out there with the Democrats, and we've got Kamala Harris, who is, of course, the embodiment of a braying, cackling donkey that's got no good opinions. So Mark had tweeted this out, though, and I loved it, basically showing that the last election cycle, despite what people might think, was it stolen? Was it hacked? Was it whatever? Had 20 million more votes, Mark, that just happened to disappear.
I think I rounded up to 20. I think it's maybe 16 to 17. The point is, it's a lot more that can be explained by, to me anyway, the simple ebbs and flows of an election cycle. Now, some people might say, well, it was the COVID year. There was a lot of the write-in ballots and this and that. Yeah, maybe, but that's a lot of voters to then decide to not participate at all in the process. So I thought it was, there's been some controversy about the graph itself. Some say it's, anyway, you can look at the numbers. It doesn't matter what size the bars are. The numbers are pretty apparent to me.
Yeah, and I think either way you look at it, 15 million votes, that's a scandal. Any way you look at it, it's either a scandal because where'd they come from, and I'd like to see a breakdown on which state had the most, or which handful of states had the biggest change, or it's like an equally big scandal was how do you just not get 15 million votes again for the Democrat Party?
Even if you believe it, that's what I'm saying. It's a phenomenon no matter what you believe. If you just believe the numbers are all legitimate, everything is just a regular reported factual election, it's still a fucking phenomenon worth really examining, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, and of course, remember, democracy was on the ballot. It's not like any Democrat hates Donald Trump less. Well, actually, that's what I do want to unpack. Maybe that's not true. Because, as we said, definitely anomalous to have these 15 million votes. And again, ridiculous. Clearly, some chicanery went on. But one of the things that really stood out to me is the DNC bled votes. Like young men, particularly Black people, Latino people. Like, it was amazing to see. I don't know if you guys saw this. The Lions of Liberty, for those who don't know, it's named as such because we are all Nittany Lions. We went to Penn State. It's where we all met. Center County, Pennsylvania, which is where Penn State is, went GOP for the first time, I think, in history.
Directly based on our legacy and influence, I believe.
Obviously.
It was actually my flip to MAGA that pushed it over. I think.
That wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. You're an influential guy.
Obviously so. People are saying, there you go. Look, happy to see you. Think about that, though. And I don't think that Center County and Penn State is anomalous here because all of these young men were told, especially even young white men, but there's a lot of young Black men too. There's two things that happen, right? Either if you're a young white man, you were told by the Democrats that you are a piece of shit, that you're worthless, that you're blamed for all the ills of society. You've had the scholarly structure now built against you to just disincentivize you. You have the workplace disincentivized from hiring you, and you come out. And then on top of that, right? So that's one component of it. On the other side of things, you also have the DNC kind of going out of its way to tell black men, right, with Barack Obama, that if they don't like Kamala Harris and if they don't vote for the Democrat Party, right, Joe Biden, you ain't black. And then Obama being like, if you don't vote for Kamala Harris, you're a sexist piece of shit. And I think that just so many young men, especially, are just like, this is horse shit. I mean, I think a huge component of where this vote went is from young men in particular. But like I said, I mean, the Democrats brought this on themselves. They drove these people out in this blind rage of, I don't know, DEI-centric nonsense.
Well, as academic agent, my pal Nima Parvini has pointed out, to make the wrestling analogy, as I always like to do, Kamala was a jobber. She's someone put there specifically for the purpose of losing. And whether that purpose is because, you know, that you can go in different directions. Some people think the powers that be, or certain powers that be, certain elites have decided on Trump and sort of installed him in their own way. That's its own conversation. No matter what you think about all that, the truth is that Kamala she was there to lose, either because they knew Trump was going to lose anyway, or going to win anyway, and it was inevitable. And she was just there to have someone to sweep under the rug and not waste this Trump. I think you can call it a landslide. I think that's pretty safe to call it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's going to hit 53%.
Yeah,
of the
you're not burning a Gavin Newsom or a Shapiro or one of these other, you know, sort of hot prospects that has a long future. Like if it was a wrestling analogy again, it might be one of these young superstars coming up from NXT. They don't want that guy just coming in and losing right away. They want him to make a big first impression. So they bring in Kamala. They bring in the jobber. She looks at the lights, 1, 2, 3, and she's down for the count. I think that's why she was there in the first place, frankly.
I mean, that's an interesting theory. And I mean, look at the flip, like Jeff Bezos, who now just tweeted out, he's like, congrats, Donald Trump. And after going out of his way,
too. Mark Cuban also did.
Did he really?
He sent a contriteful tweet to Elon and Donald saying like, hey, all right, let's hang out or something, you know? It's not a quote,
hey guys, let's buy on a jet and bang prostitutes in Colombia for a few hours.
Don't put me in prison.
We'll put this all behind us.
I mean, it's really interesting. So the Democrats raised $1 billion essentially this election. I don't know if they spent it all. Maybe they spent more than that.
But Trump had a billionaire walking around.
You said $7 billion?
1.7 billion.
1.7.
I looked at this 2 days ago. $1.7 billion is what the Harris campaign raised, and Trump raised $1 billion on his own too.
So when you look at having that amount of vast resources, and you're doing all kinds of analytical research into the states and counties and where can you get more votes, there is no way. I mean, I guess there's a extremely low probability that they had no idea that they were going to get their shit kicked in.
They knew what was
coming. They had to have known they were going to get their shit kicked in.
Especially if you think there was chicanery 4 years ago that there was not going to be now for a number of reasons. One, because it's not just a button. You don't just press the cheating button and 20 million votes appear. Like, stuff had to go into that. If something like that happened, it was a complicated thing and something that's now being watched out for and now has other people in place that are, it's not going to slide by as easily. And it's going to be even more obvious. So if they did try to do something to that magnitude, especially if it was the magnitude of these 15 to 20 million votes, it would have to be even more obvious this time because Trump is even more popular, at least across the country. So I don't see any way that this was not inevitable, whether you think it's because he has been ordained from the beginning and this is all a storyline playing out, or whether he's just an unstoppable force, because either way, it's impressive as fuck what has come together. I mean, it's hard to look at, no matter what you think of all them, a team of like Donald Trump, RFK, Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard. I'm skeptical of all these people, by the way, and maybe even Ron Paul. How can you not just think that's cool as shit, even if it just turns into the Antichrist hell world for all of us, which it could. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it is a fascinating coalition, right? And you look at, I mean, for me, I was just talking to actually this morning, I have a client over in Europe, and this is, Europe, obviously they're not pro-Trump necessarily, but the guy I was talking to, he certainly had a more pro-Trump perspective because he goes, look, globally, he goes from an innovative perspective, from a free market and trade perspective, from like just an economic and capitalist perspective, he's like, I'm happy Trump won. And I think that's the undercurrent. And people, they may have voted Harris, but I think a lot of people are kind of breathing a sigh of relief because Elon Musk getting in there, right? Let's say if Elon Musk gets in, and I believe Trump will appoint him to the DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, which of course Ron Paul has said he will be perfectly happy to join.
Have you seen that meme, that Office Space meme?
Yeah.
That's
Michael Scott
tweeted by Elon Musk. I mean, that's a weird world, no matter what you think.
Well, dude, Elon Musk has fully come on board, and it drives me nuts as work with the Libertarian Party. It's like, Elon, give us a couple million, please. Can you throw us a few mil?
Why would he do that? Why would he?
Why not? Why not? It's nothing to him. Give us some money, Elon. But him getting in there and literally just slashing. I mean, I think it's going to happen. Now, the worry is, of course, American, workers have all these protections that have been horseshoed in, but getting Ron Paul and Elon in there, getting Elon Musk in there, as far as like just looking at a different way the government can work. I mean, the dude's brain does not work like our brains. Trump mentioned it in his speech, talking about the rocket.
A star is born. A star is born.
I love that. That's like the third time I've heard him tell that story.
With glimmer in his eyes. Trump
it was hilarious.
I would too. If I had a billionaire following me around and promoting me and trying to make me president, I would have glimmer in my eyes for him as well.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But he's like the rocket. It's like a 20-story high rocket. They saw it get caught. It came down and it caught it.
I also appreciate how he says Elon.
And
the beautiful arms come out and they grab the rocket.
Yeah, I mean it's a funny story, but look, the perspective he's coming from is in fact correct, though. I mean, Elon Musk has a different way of doing things. He could really revolutionize the way the government operates, coming with brand new ideas. And look, I know, like one of our commenters is saying here, the tariffs thing, Trump wanting to put tariffs on everything. I hate that idea. But at the same time, if the trade-off is in fact getting rid of the income tax, I'm willing to give it a shot, man. I'm open to it because one of these things is a far fucking greater evil to the world and to individual freedom and to the government involvement in your life than the tariffs are. That's just a simple fact of the matter.
Look, tariffs suck, but I understand why Trump uses them as sort of a political tool, a political hammer.
People don't understand them
because it's one of the few he has that's not. It's not war, It's taxing essentially. Yeah, you can say it's passed on to American workers, fine, but it also will ultimately, if the tariffs have to be enforced, if they are large, it will shift some production back to the United States, and maybe. Yeah. And, maybe that raises prices in some ways. But if we've also eliminated the income tax here, there are trade-offs to be made that I'm willing to take a gamble and see how they all shake out if that were the actual trade-off. Now, more than likely, it's tariffs and still income tax. I mean, let's be honest, probably reduced. Hopefully business taxes are reduced. I got to think he's going to pass some kind of tax cut.
The corporate taxes are going to be, I think he wants to cap corporate tax and vastly lower it. I'm not sure exactly what number he floated out, but I mean, that's where you contrast like Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris wanted to raise corporate tax back up to like 35 or 38%. And then on top of that, talking about taxing unrealized gains, talking about attacking the stock market, like all of her plans would have destroyed the stock market. I don't know about you guys. Not that I directly think that presidents have an influence on the economy and on the marketplace necessarily, but
they do.
All my stocks are soaring. I'll tell you that much. I was like,
they absolutely do.
Overnight. Yeah.
And anything that influence, I mean, the markets are basically just a reaction to what people think is going to happen. And if people think someone is going to influence things, that's all it really matters and the president, especially Donald Trump, he influences how people think. He influences how people act. He influences how economies work. It can't be denied that the president has a massive amount of influence. And if we accept that to be true, then we have to argue that Donald Trump is the most president is probably the most influential president in the history of the world, especially when you factor in the internet, where he literally can speak to everybody in the world.
Even just anecdotally looking at, myself and decisions that I'm going to make, with my businesses in the next 3 months here, Donald Trump winning affected that. If Kamala Harris would have won, I would be thinking differently. I would probably be a lot more cautious. Because I mean, it's just so much more uncertainty.
Residency, probably.
I know.
I mean,
I'd say for Mark, hey, Mark. By the way, how many expat celebrities have contacted you to follow through with their threats on leaving America? Anybody?
All of them. Me and Peter Thiel are in talks actually.
Sorry, go to you. There you go.
No, it's just, I mean, it's clear. I mean, Donald Trump is much better for business across the board, and it's not just like large corporations, it's also small business owners. Like just having that confidence that, you know, laws aren't going to be passed, that you have to have these DEI boards on your, you know, for your company in order to, you know, meet some sort of quota. Like if you just cut that bullshit out, of course, it's going to help small business. It's going to help people who just own a mom and pop shop. I mean, and it's just the attitude. It changed overnight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about the economy drives everything, right? And like, and we come back to like, why was this such a blowout? And yes, like you said, Mark, Kamala was a heel. She was so unlikable, so stupid. So I avoided every real question she was ever asked. To your point, maybe she's there just designed to lose, but the economy drove things, immigration drove things. And like from an economic perspective, you look at where people are as far as, okay, you look around, grocery prices are through the roof. Now, I don't know what Donald Trump's going to be able to do about that specifically. You know, energy.
He's going to buy us free fries at McDonald's once a week.
Giving away extra chicken nugget in every meal. But like, why did Harris lose? I think at the end of the day, it comes down to, like you're talking about, the economy, you know, a hope, like a future. People have a definite brighter vision of what's going to moving forward under Donald Trump. And I also was saying this last night, and I'm curious to hear if you guys think it weighed in at all. The vice president usually does not have a huge impact on an election from my perspective, right? Rarely, maybe a little bump here and there. Mike Pence, who gave a shit, you know, back when Joe Biden was running, Kamala Harris was an afterthought, I think, from that perspective. This race, I actually think J.D. Vance helped, especially, again, the young men vote, trying to get some of these rural people involved. And just like the way he came across as more intelligent, more, you know, well-spoken, likable even, compared to the clearly mentally disabled in some way Tim Walz, who's running around, you know, clapping at
even more evidence
on stage.
Even more evidence that they were there to lose. Like where did they even find this guy? I mean, I can't even believe he was real. I'd never even heard of him before. Like I really think he's a Mandela effect that was just inserted into our reality to be a part of this thing.
Yeah, how did he become governor of Minnesota? What is wrong with people in Minnesota?
I think they listen. Maybe they read the debates in the newspaper. Maybe it's very old school. Because if you see this guy on TV, how could anybody say, you know what? I think this guy should manage my state. That's the guy.
Of course, Minnesota. What? Jesse Ventura was Minnesota, right?
That's true. They've done some weird stuff, including vote for Jesse.
God, yeah,
I like the idea of Jesse more than the reality of Jesse. I've decided.
He's gotten a lot worse. I mean, it's over the years.
Horrible. Yeah, horrible.
Oh, he was endorsing Kamala, and I think where did I hear? I heard some interview with him. I don't know if it was Rogan or somewhere, but anyway, yeah, he gave a very full-fledged endorsement of Kamala because Trump is a unique evil, like 2016 Hillary type stuff. He's lost.
Yeah,
it's very
sad. Interesting too. Speaking of Rogan, I actually do think the Rogan endorsement mattered somewhat. Now, granted, a lot of the people, like we're talking about the young men, a lot of them probably were already going to vote for Trump regardless, but you could tell the Harris campaign, I think at this point, they were never going to go on Rogan because it would have exposed her, right? She can't talk for 3 hours. Not even 20 minutes.
She doesn't have that many words to use. Let's be honest.
Yeah. But the fact was, I think they were resigned to the fact that they were fucked, to what we were talking about earlier, by telling Joe Rogan, we're not going to do the interview unless you come to us and it's an hour. Like that was clearly to make him say no without outwardly just turning down the opportunity to try to save face. Because if you had any shot at doing it and winning back young men, you would have done that podcast instead of the call her daddy fucking insular retard hour.
Do you know how many text messages I got being in Pennsylvania saying Joe Rogan endorsed Donald Trump? It was at least 10.
Really?
Oh yeah. So I mean, I'm the target demographic.
You're in a swing state, yeah. So they're going right after.
So I'm sure it was across the board in swing states for my demographic, just inundating that.
Fitness and metabolism stuff. He definitely listens to Rogan. We're sending him those texts.
Actually linking to the interview too. Some of them were linked to the interview, which is pretty interesting.
Oh, it's a brand new way. It's a brand new world. I got more text messages from Kamala Harris. For whatever fucking reason, Kamala Harris kept texting me with, get out and vote. And I kept responding with, curse-filled diatribes. So I was worried. I only got, I think, one maybe text from Trump. So that was surprising to me. Maybe they thought libertarians, because of Tim Walz, bragging about Liz Cheney coming on board and how that really opened things up.
Trump just heard you were voting for Chase Oliver, and he was like, "Take Brian off the list. Don't waste a text on him."
I did vote for Chase. Okay, you know what? Real quick, let's talk about that because I want to make something clear. Chase Oliver, people had problems with his campaign. I completely see why. I had problems with his campaign and his stances myself, but there's people out there that are pointing to him getting 0.4%. and solely blaming either the LP or blaming Chase himself. I will say this. In this campaign cycle, anybody that ran was going to be cannon fodder, period, flat out. I'm glad Dave Smith didn't run. I'm glad like a Justin Amash didn't run.
What if RFK became the Libertarian nominee? Just fantasy.
He still wouldn't have won. I mean,
he would have gotten more than 0.4, wouldn't he?
He would have, yeah.
Like
but
2 or 3, maybe.
He also has
Kamala Harris probably would be president.
What if Kamala Harris was the LP nominee? She would have gotten more votes.
I'd have to. I won't say what I would have to do.
Maybe next time.
I'd be the naked man at the convention, but I'd have C4 shoved up my ass and go give her a hug. Dude, yeah, I'm just saying it was one of those elections where it didn't matter who we ran because, especially with RFK in the race, it was gone. There was a foregone conclusion that you weren't going to get shit. It was like, this is the election of our lifetime. We were talking about it. This really was. This was the deciding factor. If Kamala Harris had won,
it either was or the propaganda is just that good this time that it's even got us thinking things like this. And I think I've been thinking it too. So I'm not saying I'm immune to it, but it feels that way.
Mm-hmm.
It could be propaganda, but like you look at the facts of the matter, you look at the inflation, you look at the wars, you look at the billions we're sending overseas, you look at the state of America, you look at just everything, the trans nonsense, DEI nonsense, the divisive, the hatred, it all really felt tangibly like, if the Democrats win this and it keeps going down this road, we may end up in a civil war situation, or we're just going to go bankrupt, or all the things are going to happen at once. We're going to go bankrupt, the world economy is going to collapse, and then we go civil war on each other. It really felt like this had to happen. And I think libertarians saw that. You guys saw that. Odie, you voted for Trump. Mark, I'm sure you voted for Trump.
I did.
And also, Trump made specific catering. He came to the Libertarian Convention. He told us he's going to free Ross Ulbricht. He told us he's putting a Libertarian in his cabinet. He's all about anti-war. He's telling us all these things. He's got Elon Musk in there and Ron Paul. I mean, if you're a Libertarian, there's way more fucking reasons to believe that the Libertarian moment is coming with Donald Trump than that it's going to come with Chase Oliver and throwing a vote that way in an election that could define the future of the country. It's obvious what was going to happen this cycle.
On that subject, I will give credit where credit is due. Talk about making the most of a situation. Angela McArdle was masterful in how she used what little levers the LP does have in very good ways, between working with RFK and what are smart ways, leveraging that in a relationship, working with Trump, as opposed, it's the exact opposite of the old school libertarian. Everyone who's ever been a Democrat and Republican is the worst status and we should never talk to them. It's quite the opposite mentality of that. And it's what actually got some real politics done. Now we'll see if he follows up on freeing Ross. Maybe he'll commute a sentence. Maybe he'll just pardon him. Who knows? Maybe he won't do it at all. But the fact that he even felt the need to say it, or felt the need to agree to it, is about the best you could possibly make out of that situation. So, I mean, hats off to Angela, because she just did masterful work. And I would not be surprised if she were the Libertarian in Trump's, not in his cabinet. Like, I don't think she'd be a main cabinet, but I wouldn't be surprised if she ended up somehow working in the Trump administration.
Side cabinet, maybe a bathroom cabinet.
Kitchen cabinet, boom, boom. No, I kid. She's awesome, and I wish her the best.
Well, look, we were talking about Democrats have fled the party, but look, the Libertarian vote made up between 2 and 3% of the electorate. Guess what? Donald Trump happened to get an additional 1.5%, 2%. I mean, just simple mathematics pointing out that
he certainly got way more libertarians than ever.
Candidate
without a doubt.
That's inarguable, both anecdotally and just looking at the numbers. I mean, he definitely did.
Yeah.
And anecdotally, like I've lost count of the number of people that I know voted Libertarian last time,
honestly,
voted
except
Republican.
Brian, almost all of them. And let's be honest, your vote didn't matter anyway. Mine didn't really matter either anyway.
If I was in a swing,
but I wasn't going to vote for TA.
100% I would have voted for Trump. My wife still voted for Trump, but I was like, after I choked her out and she woke up, and I was like, why'd you do that? It didn't even matter. No, but I voted for Oliver here because
Brian, I'm not going to throw my vote away, you idiot.
But I mean, yeah,
I wanted to repeal the 19th until I heard your wife voted for Trump and you didn't. Now I'm thinking maybe we got to keep it around.
Yeah. So okay, so that was to cross off the Oliver point of view. So the question now is, have you guys been seeing the most fantastic liberal meltdowns? I mean, it's not quite Hillary Clinton level, but I've seen the people posting videos of the crying, the wailing, the gnashing of teeth. And I mean, Dan Spotza tweeted this out from the Systems Down pod, but I'm still amazed by the people that record themselves weeping in their cars and post it. But then I realized these people are such narcissists. Like, they have to post this shit. And like, people that vote for Democrats, for the most part, are narcissists. Like, academics are all narcissists. Journalists are all narcissists. Artists are all narcissists. So of course these people have to do it. But have you been enjoying the show?
I have to share one.
Please,
of these. This
absolutely.
is just
Absolutely. I haven't seen much of these at all, to be honest. I stayed up late and slept in because of that. So I have not seen that much besides the Trump speech is this last media I saw. Besides
this is going to be the new, screaming progressive in the street. That was the meme for the past, 10 years. This is just crazy. I don't know how you get to this point. Assuming this is real, it certainly looks real.
I'm sorry. No. Why? Why? Do you really hate me that bad? I'm sorry. No.
Actually, no, I don't hate you. I like you. You're entertaining me.
Yeah, very entertaining. Well, dude, they kept cutting to Kamala Harris HQ, and it kept getting sadder and sadder and sadder. And then, of course, culminated in the hilarity of Kamala Harris, the guy coming out and go,
she still hasn't said a word, huh?
She's not good. Yeah, she still hasn't said. She's supposed
4
to
p.m.
at 6 tonight. Is it 4?
You think she ever will? What if she just doesn't ever?
Well, the funny part about that guy comes out and apparently, like, there were no plans for her to have anything tomorrow. And she's speaking at Howard University. Like, there's setup and all kinds of crap they have to, do in order to have someone that, the current vice president of the United States. You can't just say, I'm going to speak tomorrow. And the guy comes out and says, yeah, she's going to address Howard tomorrow, right here. Yep. People are like, wait, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah, it was amazing. And I mean, it wasn't just that she did the exact same thing as Hillary Clinton, where people are sitting there sad, and then you can't even, like, I just don't understand that you can't even come out to address these people that came out for you and be like, hey, we're going to see what happens. Like, it's so cowardly, just embarrassingly, despicably cowardly, that it shows you everything you need to know about who Hillary Clinton is and who Kamala Harris is right there and then. But also, I mean, what her first line of her concession speech is going to be, that she comes from a middle-class family. First line.
I'm honestly curious.
I know that's a meme, but is that I just never saw the original. Is it like a thing she said once, or is it what she always says?
Oh, she said it like 8 times.
Every question.
Every question, they'd be like, Kamala, tell us about the what you're gonna do with the economy. And she'd go, well, I came from a middle-class background. Like,
Kamala, Laken Riley was murdered by an illegal immigrant. Well, I come from a middle-class family. We had really nice lawns where I grew. I mean, seriously, it was insane.
Every time. Every time. Hold on, I want to share one quick meme, which my wife sent me this morning.
This just all goes to, to the theory. Was not my theory, but the theory that she was just meant to lose, because she didn't even really have, as far as I could tell, she didn't even really talk about policies or like, well,
when she did, they were so stupid that even liberal outlets were like, this is a bad idea. Like giving away $25,000 to homeowners. And she had some other idiot. Oh, and the capital gains, unrealized capital gains. Every policy she iterated, Mark might be onto something here, because every time she said anything regarding policy, everyone was like, what are you talking about? And that was when she had voiced it.
And she didn't seem to be quite as propped up as someone might be if they were really trying to make them win. Like, I mean, the media was largely sort of good to Kamala, but somewhat critical too. Like I saw a lot of the usual commentators would be saying things like, where they would, if it was Hillary, they would just be blowing all the smoke. With Kamala, let's say, well, I think she did kind of miss an opportunity tonight, hedging just a little bit in a way that they don't when it's really the anointed candidate.
Yeah, well, CNN had a great line. One of their commenters, after she did like that horrible Anderson Cooper interview, he goes, she really is a double threat. she can't answer the questions that she knows are coming, and she also can't answer the questions she doesn't know are coming. That was on CNN. All right, hold on. Let me.
That's what I mean. You never would have heard a line like that about like a Hillary Clinton, for example.
No,
and for all things bad about Hillary, she's 100 times more competent than Kamala Harris when it comes to just speaking and whatnot. I mean, she has bad policies, and she's probably drinks the blood of children, but she can speak sentences.
Yeah. All right, hold on. I just want to show this meme real quick. So it says on the meme, it's like closet Trump voters to their liberal circles, and it's got like this kind of a goofy looking girl in a Gap t-shirt.
Oh gosh darn it. Shoot. Oh gosh darn it. Shoot.
I mean, I've seen so many videos, and like the going back to the Harris rally, the Harris headquarters rally, they pan the crowd, and it's like 90% black, right?
Well, it's at Howard University.
Yeah, Howard University, historic black college, which I've been to, by the way. Not enrolled, but I did go there to film.
Did you pull a Soul Man?
Yeah, exactly. I was in there. I
spent a year at Howard University
it.
as a young black man.
Thomas C. Howling at the Moon. That's what they call it when you dress up like a soul man and then go try to have sex with co-eds at Howard University.
Now that's a pun I can roll with. Thomas C. Howling at the Moon. That's a deep cut.
All black, right? Howard University. She's obviously at least half black, and
that's where C. Thomas Howell also becomes a werewolf and a black. He's like a black werewolf. Thomas C. Thomas.
Werewolves at what's it?
He's like he raps and breakdances as a werewolf. Like to combine these movies. I'm down.
I believe that happened in Teen Wolf too. This is like the Teen Wolf remake with Thomas C. Howell as Teen Wolf at Howard University,
and he turns black also.
Awesome. That's when he becomes a werewolf.
I guess when you're a werewolf, are they even like judging your race anymore? There's like, this is good enough. Just come on.
It's your new race.
Welcome to Howard.
Werewolf. It's a race in itself.
It is. It's definitely a variant. So, but they go to the Trump headquarters, and it's like Latinos, white people, Asian people, black people. I mean, it really did give you a snapshot of these people are calling Trump supporters Nazis, racists, bigots. And of course, there's tons of women at Trump's rally. The women had to vote for Trump for him to get in office. I don't know if the Democrats know that.
There's some lookers in some of these Trump rallies, women, by the way. Not that I noticed, but there's some lookers in some of these Trump rallies.
Yeah, not even close.
There's like one meme where someone's like, when Trump wins, he's going to give you an art hoe. And there's just like this girl with glasses.
But no, it's like you see all these racist colors and creeds, and then the mainstream narrative from all these crazy leftists on Twitter, and from I've seen also just mainstream reporting in the corporate, corrupt media. It's like racism and sexism led to Donald Trump getting his victory, and you're like, he got more black people and more Latino people and more Asian people than any Republican candidate in the history of voting in this country, and yet it's all racism. That's why, guys, and sexism.
Yeah, I mean, I think a big part of it was the transgender nonsense. Like, also in Pennsylvania, the commercial I saw the most was a commercial that showed the, 30-year-old man dressed up like a woman playing on like a community college women's basketball team. Like 85% of the country calls this out as being nonsense, yet the Democrats continued to double down on it. Almost to the, it's insanity. Like, I don't know, is it intentional? Like Mark was alluding to, are they trying to lose? I don't know. Are they just that out of touch that they're stuck in their echo chambers, especially when you look at like MSNBC and CNN? I was watching MSNBC a little bit last night. Who's the Morning Joe guy? Scarborough. And he was laying into the rest of the cast there about the transgender stuff, saying, laying out the facts. Like, they doubled down on this, and it was clear the country was not on board with it. Like, when you look in the mirror, you can't do that.
Yeah. Well, dude, that commercial that Donald Trump ran with Kamala Harris on video saying we're going to give free surgeries to like illegal immigrant prisoners in jail.
It sounds like the reverse of that like libertarian meme where they just try to put all the stuff together. Like, I want gay couples to defend their marijuana plants with like but it's like the Democrat version of that. It's like I want to give transgender Mexican babies I want
transgender 40-year-old men to play women's basketball on
exactly
all girls community college team from
El Salvador.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the election did come down to just common sense. I mean, that it's amazing that the Democrat Party just still doesn't realize it. I mean, like, good, give Joe Scarborough credit for saying, like, look in the mirror, like it's obvious what you guys are doing. Everything, the economy, the trans stuff, the DEI stuff. I mean, all of it was obvious from every poll that came out. Americans hate it.
And I do actually,
I do
actually think the Trump as evil dictator stuff has finally played its all the way out, that really hardly anyone can cling to that anymore. He was the president for 4 years. This already happened, and none of these fantasies occurred. And that, I mean, it's just, it's a real stretch to the point that I think even the diehards that were captured by a lot of this rhetoric in 2016 and 2020, it's hard. It's got to be hard for them internally to actually sit there and think that this is true, especially when all these other people are joining him. Tulsi Gabbard and RFK, Jamie Dimon, like Wall Street, like it's Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, people they know are competent businessmen, things like, not that Zuckerberg endorsed him, but he may as well have when he said
I bet he voted for him.
I bet he voted
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did. Well, look, I mean, some of this is self-preservation, I think. I mean, Elon Musk, you look at Elon Musk. Yes, I think he believes in Donald Trump's vision for the future and the fact that the left turned on Elon Musk. And obviously,
I think he believes in going to Mars or pretending to go to Mars, depending on what you think. And he doesn't think anybody but Trump will let him. I think that's what that is.
Well, he's right, man. I mean, the question after this election for me is, like, as Elon moves forward, and I've been floating this idea, maybe I'll have a spaceman on to talk about it. Elon Musk is up against, like, the globalists want to control this planet. They want to control people getting off the planet. Like, the next great place is getting off of Earth and exploring the moon, exploring Mars, but that takes you out of government control here on Earth. And I think they're going to try to fight tooth and nail to stop it from happening.
I mean, Trump founded Space Force for a reason, man. I don't know what that reason is, but Trump did found Space Force, and I have a good feeling of who's going to get a lot of the Space Force contracts if they don't already have them to SpaceX.
Yeah, absolutely.
And fine. I'm okay with cronyism now. It's how it's going to work anyway. We may as well just choose our favorite cronies and root for them. Honestly, no matter what we do, people are going to bribe each other, not bribe each other, but help their friends and help their allies and coalesce together. That's life. That's politics. Deal with it. Let's just root for the best outcome for us. I mean, what more can you really do? You can't cry about how unfair it is.
How far we've come. We used to have a Liberty draft. Now we should have a crony draft.
Yes.
Draft your favorite crony.
Exactly. Draft your favorite elites.
But I mean, seriously, that's what it is. I think Zuckerberg is looking at Elon Musk. He's looking at how the European Union and how all these different, SEC, the FCC, the environmentalists, like Elon Musk. I talked about it in this one show. There was this graph, all the different organizations that were investigating him. The Environmental Protection Agency is somehow investigating Twitter or X. What? How? Over what? Like,
man, some of my tweets are so fire they give off carbon emissions.
Dude, it's fucking ridiculous. So these guys, seeing Trump as a deregulator, as a capitalist, it's like self-protection. And I think that Zuckerberg and Musk, they view that as like, I need protection, especially from the global environment too. Where, like, Brazil is threatening to go after Musk, and the EU going after Musk's other businesses because they hate what he's doing with free speech on Twitter. You got to align yourself with the powers that are going to go with you. And that's obviously what's happened. I don't fucking blame him 1 second. If that forced Zuckerberg into libertarianism, I guess good. Thank God these people played their hands so hard and forced these, these billionaires and these industrialists to actually side with liberty and side with free speech and side with free marketplaces, because they've been just forced in the corner. Mic drop.
Agree.
Yeah, you left me speechless, as you so often do.
I know. All right, so we got about 5 more minutes on this, and then we're gonna call it a day. So, what other things you guys want to get into real quick to sum it up?
Yeah, well, I want to know this. Who do you think is going to be everyone talks about the Ross Ulbricht promise, but what about the Libertarian in the cabinet promise? What do you think? Do you have ideas?
I was thinking about who that might be.
And will he stretch the definition of libertarian beyond what libertarians might find acceptable and be like, that's my libertarian, like Pompeo, he's the one. Like,
they're gonna.
He read a Rothbard. He read a Milton Friedman book once, and he's my libertarian. So I'm going.
Yeah, he'll put some dickhead from Cato. I mean, Elon Musk probably identifies as a libertarian, which you could do worse. But Ron Paul, I think, is distinctly a possibility.
To be in the
I don't think Ron Paul wants to deal with like an actual cabinet position.
Advise or consult, but I'm talking like full time. We're talking. He promised a cabinet, right? That means
full time.
Vivek could. I mean, I would consider Vivek a libertarian.
I would too. If he
says he's not. So. He says he
yeah,
leans
that's the
libertarian.
thing.
He'll do the.
He says he was a libertarian. I mean, look, I would
he
love
grew
it if Angela McArdle was the pick for cabinet, but I think it'll probably be somebody more on the, I'm guessing, on the economic side of things, the deregulatory side of things. I mean, what about Bob Murphy?
I mean, that would be awesome. I don't see that happening, but that fucking amazing. Yeah.
I mean, top
Federal Reserve
economist.
there.
That would be amazing. Get him in there.
I mean,
I really don't know. I have to think about.
What about Judge Knapp? Doesn't he already have a relationship with Trump to a degree?
Attorney General Judge Knapp. That would be something else.
That would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
That would be just hilarious. That's like our Liberty draft coming to life. You know, like
Yeah. Dave Smith, comedian in chief. You have
I
a poet
could
laureate.
see-
Can we have a comedian laureate? And
I could see. I don't know if he'll do this. I guess I would like to see it if I'm fantasy booking Trump. It'll probably be someone disappointing, but I would like to see Tulsi as like Secretary of State. To be honest,
yeah, that'd be awesome.
not defense, state. I think she could be a good diplomat.
Yeah.
And I don't often talk about promoting women.
I dip her, Matt. You know what I mean? I
No
think you do.
comment.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if Tulsi and RFK actually have positions in the administration because they're on the transition team. So, like, if they're helping
RFK
to
was a promise as well, right? That's the whole point of why he.
I'm sure
merged
RFK
and
will
dumped
be.
was,
Well, I don't know if he was actually promised a. I don't. Cause I saw one of Trump's other his transition team chairman was on. I don't know, some cable
he said
news.
he's going to let RFK go. I do love how even Trump will say like RFK, he's going to get in there, fix the healthcare stuff, make America
Let him go
healthy.
nuts.
But you gotta stay away from the oil. He like gets this weird
Yeah,
voice.
yeah,
He's so funny.
exactly.
He's like, don't worry, Bobby, you're a great guy, but don't worry, leave the oil to me. All right, we're gonna get that rich gold. Like it's so funny. RFK's just standing right there, like, all right, I guess I won't touch the oil.
I mean, I do think it'll be
the one thing that this transition team guy was talking about was getting the data, like all the FDA data they've accumulated on vaccines that you can't get to, and also RFK talked about this at PorkFest, getting the data on school shooters. What pharmaceuticals are they taking, and being able to look at that?
What FBI agents did they meet with? I want that data.
Yeah.
What
What about
psychiatrists
Scott
did they
Horton?
see? Like,
What about Scott Horton as a cabinet member? I think Scott's
Don't
too
see it
wacky.
happening. Would be hilarious.
I don't see it happening either.
Secretary of State, he never lets anyone get a word in. He just gives them lectures about the history of their wars in their country. He's like, it just breaks them, and they're like, whatever, I'll sign whatever you want. Jesus Christ.
Zelensky's like, I don't want any more money. I'm good. I can't take it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I really don't know who else would go there. Maybe. Well, look, I mean, Trump has a relationship with Angela McArdle, as we know. This is what I was saying before. When it comes
Attorney
to
General Angela McArdle,
that'd be awesome. She's not. Well, she needs to be a lawyer. She's a paralegal. But when it comes to
that would make it even better.
Yeah, I would. You think about the relationship now. People can whine and cry, and like all these assholes unjoined from the LP and cancel their memberships and all this shit. And like, look, dummies, now's the time. Get back on board with the LP because you have more influence now than you're ever going to have. You have the ear of the president. McArdle literally texts with Donald Trump, can get meetings, to talk to him on the fucking phone. We haven't direct access to the president of the United States. Now is the time to get on board with the LP. And with that in mind, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump is talking to her right now about Angela, who do you recommend? Literally, who do you recommend to take over a cabinet position? Who do you think?
Angela,
give me your top 10. Because he doesn't know. He doesn't know. I'm telling you, Angela. He talks like Tony Dance.
It's just it's like every libertarian podcaster. It's just a list of the podcast.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm like, damn it. If I could have been in the Trump, all you guys are in the Trump administration. That happens. Like, my God, I really got off at the wrong time. Oh, well. Wrong grift switch.
That would be funny. All right. Final thoughts, and then we'll call it a day. Mark, you can tell people where to find you and support your expat efforts.
There's no reason to fall. You should certainly, especially, I will say, honestly, a lot of people, for our business, to be honest, people wanting to leave the country. In some ways, I would say like Kamala winning is better marketing on the surface, better emails we can write and that sort of thing. But honestly, the truth is, I mean, I live in Florida. I live in the United States. I love living in this country. I hope this country does better. But it makes sense for everybody to have a plan B and to set up offshore investments. So if your stocks go up in the next few months because of Trump or what have you, it might make sense. It might be a good time to pull some of that off and buy an international property or something like that, or buy offshore gold, protect yourself, use this opportunity, because no matter, even if Trump is the best president ever. The problems with the U.S. economy, the $35 trillion in debt, the unfunded liabilities, those ain't going away. They're not really fixable. So the best he can do will be a short-term surge to the economy. So use that to your advantage, shave off some profits, and do some smart things with it. That's what I would say. So head over to expatmoney.com to learn more about the things I'm talking about. You can always follow me on Twitter. I think I'm still at Marc Clair Show, but there is no show. I'm just a podcasting cowboy. I've discovered I like going on shows with no pressure. I don't have to edit anything. That's fun. I don't have to like press buttons. It's great. So I'll do that when requested.
Perfect.
Your whole life is a show. It's all a show. Marc Clair.
Yeah, exactly. Well, of course, you guys can support John Odermatt. You know where to find him. Of course, Finding Freedom and at John Odermatt online. And guys, please do support our show if you like what we're doing here. We've got all our bonus content rolling out, secrets, lies, and cover-ups. We've got Degenerate Gamblers. We've got Good Morning Fuckhead and more. So make sure to support us at patreon.com/Lions of Liberty or lionsofliberty.locals.com. Otherwise, that's it from me, from John Odermatt, from Marc Clair, from the Lions of Liberty, and from Mean Age Daydream.
Old school Lion shirt, by the way. I got an old school Lion shirt on.
We need to bring that. You could go to our lionsofliberty.store.
I'm just out of clothes.
All right. From Mean Age Daydream, keep those electric eyes on me, babe, and keep that ray gun to my head. Later, skaters.